Hi there. So this is a little bit of an update on this channel. I've so far focused mainly on Meyers Dagger. I won't put that to the grave, but right now for the next few months I'm going to focus on this little thingy here. It's a anonymous Dutch fechtbuch translated by Reinier van Noort. It's called the BPL 3281, which of course doesn't mean anything except where it was located at the time in some archive. It's from the 1520s to 1530s. It's interesting because it is, in part, it doesn't seem like a lot of people have spent much time on it, which is in one way interesting, but also that it contains some techniques that I have yet to see in other manuals, which I think is cool. Compared to Meyer, I don't think that this is really a complete system. I think it's more like a collection of techniques. This is my impression so far. Bear in mind, I have yet to spend as much time on this as I have on Meyer, so my opinions may change. But at this point in time, that's what I think. So because I'm giving a small break to Meyer's Dagger, I thought that I would kind of wrap it up a little bit with presenting the conclusions I have reached so far with regards to Meyer. In my opinion, Meyer is a complete system. I think it's a complete system that deals with all kinds of weapons, but it is also a system that in with just regards to the dagger, it is complete in the way that it teaches a system of how to deal with dagger, both in the sense of dagger on dagger, which is arguably the focus of the dagger section. And I think that's where he starts. He starts off by teaching you how to use a dagger against somebody else and how to defend yourself with a dagger against somebody who has a dagger. And then it progresses into empty hand versus dagger, or more like self-defense situations, and then it ends up in pure wrestling, actually. And in my opinion, the way Meyer wants this to work, or my interpretation of this section, is that because of the immense focus on guards, you're supposed to keep your distance, stay out at a distance, using the guards, trying to play with the guards so that you can manipulate your opponent into a good position, using long or maximized reach attacks. So no short strokes, basically long ones as your main attacks, to probe and to find a safe way in. Once you found a safe way in, that's when you go in and execute, or try to execute, the different takedowns and finishings. It also is, of course, very much about controlling your opponent's weapon arm, like most of these manuals are. But it's like you go in, try to control your opponent's weapon arm in order to land a good attack of your own. He shows you how your opponent can counter and how you can counter the counter. And if you don't find a safe way, and it also shows you how to exit, to get out again, which I think is really useful. So stay out at the distance, try to find your way in. Once you thought you found a safe way in, try to enter, try and counter his counters. If that doesn't work, go out again and stay out. And this resonates very well with my experiences from modern knife, where and if you look at CCTV of people who have both decided that they are going to fight each other with knives, they will spend the majority of that time at a distance where they can't really reach each other, because that's where they're safe. The moment they step in close, it becomes very, very dangerous. That's where people die. So they try to spend as much time out as possible. and of course it's from a martial arts or perspective, it's when once you get in that the interesting stuff happens. But at the same time, I think it's a very healthy attitude to say, all right, yeah, that's where the fun stuff happens, but it's not fun once it's sharp weapons and or pointy ones that can actually kill you. So at that point it's safer to stay out as long time as possible. So that is the my if I was to present Meyer in a coherent way, Meyer's Dagger in a coherent way, at the moment, that's where I stand. I will, of course, come back to Meyer's Dagger and probably shoot more videos of that. But for the next few months, I'm going to focus on this fechtbuch and try to present interpretations of all the techniques in it. It isn't very big, so that's actually doable. It's about 18 pages total with, I think, like 16 techniques or something. There are some variations of them. Some of them are quite standard for the Lichtenauer tradition, which I think my absolute impression is that this is part of the Lichtenauer tradition. But it's interesting, this fechtbuch does not contain any other weapons. It's solely dagger. So is it part of a bigger manual that this section survived, or was it somebody who decided to only write on dagger? We don't know. We don't even know who the author is. So it's gonna be interesting, and we're gonna see quite a lot of cool things. One of the things that really set this one apart is that it uses actually point up quite a lot. You also see stuff like pulling of the opponent's hair and how to deal with somebody who's pulling your hair and trying to stab you. Yeah, cool things like this. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and see you soon.